Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world. It is once again time for the WADcast, the Writers, Actors, Directors podcast, brought to you by WADco Media every week. I am one of your hosts, Josh, joined with me as always by. Hold on a second, buddy. Hold on, Brandon.
Josh. I'm holding.
Yeah, as am I every time you call.
God.
Hey, buddy, what's up?
What is up?
Wait, hold on, buddy. Hold on.
No. Anyway, so I'm happy you're feeling better. I'm happy your voice is back to normal because for a while it sounded like I don't even know how to describe it. You sound like, I don't want to say Val Kilmer like now because I feel like that'd be a pot shot.
Rude.
But it didn't sound good at all. Like it sounded like you were trying to do Christian Bale's Batman for a few days. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to get. Like, for those of you that don't know, Josh has been struggling with, throat issue last week and into earlier this week. And I was trying to get us to do the show last Friday night, even though he couldn't speak. And my solution, Josh, I believe, was something along the lines of, we'll play charades. If you want to respond to something, you just do a hand signal and, we'll try to do the whole Jay and Silent Bob thing. But I think that would have turned into Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back at the very end with the Animals of Hollywood situation where the monkey gets kidnapped and, Silent Bob just flips out on him because he can't figure out what he's saying. But
it would have been... No, that's not what I want to say at all. Why are you doing this to me?
I want to say that was that I felt bad for you, and I did, but it was fun. So, but I'm happy you're feeling better.
Yeah, it's the first time in a month pretty. I think that
the beard's coming in nice and full.
I don't feel drunk. It's a weird. Maybe I shouldn't say that as a professional driver, but
well,
no.
Good.
My head has been it had been filled with so much phlegm, and my voice was swollen and possibly infected. Don't know. The only thing, because I did something I just normally wouldn't do. I went to the doctor. And that's a scary thought. Because I know there's a bill coming.
Yeah.
And it's going to be big. I was only there for a few hours, and they're like, the diagnosis was, maybe you have strep? That's what everything's. Maybe I have strep. Aren't there tests for that? So it can be sure. I guess not. That's something I dreamed, I imagine. And I'll be honest, the only reason I actually went to the doctor is because earlier that day I had also pulled a muscle in my back. And the idea was, yep, I'm going to suck it out. I'm going to suck it out.
Tell everyone what? You want to tell everyone what you said to your dad as far as how you requested that you guys go to the hospital?
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought that was brilliant.
So
the man's way of asking to go to the hospital.
It's later in the evening. I'd been waddling around the house all day, unable to really walk upright. And I see my dad, and I'm like, "Hey, Dad, you doing anything tonight?" And he's like, "I'm watching a movie. Nothing really." I'm like, oh, you want to hang out? You want to go somewhere, hang out? He's like, "You go out and hang out Saturday night? Why? What?" And I said, "Oh, I know a great place. They don't serve alcohol. It's not that kind of place. So figured we could go hang out. It's called the hospital." And he said, you think you need to go to the hospital? I'm like, yeah, I think we're at that point now. So that's what we do. We go hang out in the emergency room until about 2 a.m. Like any decent human being on a Saturday night, you're out until 2 a.m. getting all sorts of come to think of it, that was probably the most normal Saturday night I've had in a very long time. What'd you do Saturday night? Oh, I went out until 2 a.m. and had a lot of morphine. You're a party guy, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, hospital, like, I mean, the way I say it at work, whenever I have a new patient, I always tell them it's like, oh, well, I mean, this is kind of like a nightclub. I mean, we have lots of drugs here. They have music once in a while. And there's lots of alcohol, but it's rubbing alcohol. And so it's not really something you really
Mm-hmm.
want to drink. Some people do. But I wouldn't recommend it. But so, yeah, I mean, pretty much went out clubbing just,
Spent
did you get to
hours
wear a
getting
gown
touched
or?
up by pretty ladies.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You get action, whether you want it or not. You're getting action. So, yeah,
God, that was
no,
probably the best Saturday night I've had in years.
I'm telling you, dude.
Huh.
But no, I'm just happy to actually be able to have a show on time because I know the other week when we had our show on Sunday because I had to go into work and do a early. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we did our show on Sunday. We had both just woken up, basically. I was not really, and it was. I went back and I watched it. It's so painful to watch that episode because it's so boring. It's like just two people trying to have a conversation with zero, just nothing up here going on because we're just both groggy as hell.
Did you say something?
It's
Okay.
exactly it. Yeah, but
Yeah, I like movies, I guess. Sure.
yeah, it's not good. We've had some great episodes. We've had some great guests. We've had some amazing conversations.
Mm-hmm.
We've had Brian Wallace. We've had Matt McCarthy. We've had a whole bunch of people, a whole slew of people. Sue. We've had
Justin.
tons of Justin. We've had tons of people on here that we've had great conversations with. And you and I, like when we're by ourselves, we really need to get another. We really need to get another guest on the show at some point. It's been a hot minute, but
Hey, I've been reaching out to Hollywood land, and not just the writers, actors, and directors we're used to. I've been reaching out into formerly un unexplored areas. I think my most recent feeler I sent out was for a costumer. I'm not going to say who because,
yeah,
excuse me, cough number one. I'm not going to say who because I haven't heard anything back yet,
yeah.
and I wouldn't want anybody to feel some sort of pressure. Oh, they're talking about me on the show. You know,
If we're talking about you, it's usually because you're a big deal, and we actually look forward to having you. Uh,
but I don't want to promote anything unless I have something to promote.
yeah, yeah. Um, well, I mean, the thing is, like, so I feel like there's a few things that we haven't really discussed. I know that we were going to talk about the Oscars while it was like a hot topic, and it
Yeah,
didn't work out that
both
way.
hours of that hot
Um,
topicness.
I will say, going back to the Oscars from last year when that slap around the world happened, the slap heard around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Chris Rock's special. Have you seen that yet?
No,
Oh my god, dude! He just launches a tirade against Will Smith. Like just talking, he was talking about how it's like we've all been cheated on. It's like, but we've never been cheated on and then been interviewed by the person who did the cheating and have them say something like, "Oh yeah, I sucked the guy off. How did that make you feel? Here's the microphone." It's just like, and it's like a good like 5-10 minutes that he's talking about this, and Will Smith responded to it through his team, saying that it's time for Chris Rock to move on. It's time for him to move on. Like
because
Chris
you
Rock
spent
hasn't.
a year like
He
talking about nothing else, right?
that's all Will Smith had discussed for almost a year. Chris Rock hasn't brought it up at all. He has been so radio silent on everything when it came to that slap. but because this comedy special came out and painted Will and Jada in a negative light more so than they've already done themselves. Um, it's just one of those deals. Like Chris Rock's like, oh, I tried reaching out to him. He didn't want to hear from me. He didn't want to pick up from me. It's like what it was. Is like what happened. That had nothing to do with me. It's like Jada hurt that man more than he could ever hurt me. Talking about how he's like, I didn't have any entanglements. She was out there still hooking up with her son's best friend. It was just so brilliant. I mean, you got to watch it. The rest of it's also really, the rest of it's brilliant as well. I mean, he did great. He did a great job. It was good to see Chris Rock going back to his roots and stand up because he slayed it still. He hasn't
Mhm.
done it in a long time, but he still absolutely slays. Um, but and there's been like a lot. Like I was afraid that we wouldn't have a whole lot to talk about with this episode. But
Well
there's
then,
actually
good night.
yeah. Good night. Let me go ahead and break out my telemarketer looking as headsets. Is my other one busted?
And I'll
And
just
I'll
get back to playing this box office game. Let's see. Walt Disney 2003,
no,
July.
but one big thing happened, and I wanted to discuss this. People think that I'm sympathetic towards the person. I'm not. I'm sympathetic towards the recurring circumstances. Justin Roiland, a few months ago, was fired from Rick and Morty, right?
Hmm.
He was fired from Rick and Morty. Cartoon Network cut ties with him altogether. Like, just like, bye. Over the domestic abuse charges. At this point, allegations. And I'm not going to say this because I don't defend Justin Roiland's behavior. I think he's an abysmal piece of shit human being. This is a man that has messaged underage girls. The conversations have been posted. He's acknowledged it, all that stuff. He's a piece of shit. He's human garbage. Talented human garbage, but human garbage. Now, with all this that's going on, it just brings to mind last year. I think it last year was the Johnny Depp thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. So sorry, a lot of time just like flies by, so I kind of forget how much time goes in between certain events. But Justin Roiland, all the charges against him were they were without any evidence whatsoever, none. Dating back to when they were first made, there was no evidence at all. So it's like it kind of comes to a point where you have this, again, as I said, this recurring circumstance where people are let go from their positions based off of allegations. I'm sympathetic to that because I think, like, yeah, if someone's guilty or something like that, or if you have a video of them doing something, absolutely cut ties. Like, I don't believe in the whole, well, work and private life shouldn't, like, it does mix. It's inevitable. Your work bleeds into I'm sorry, your private life bleeds into your work, especially with today's social media, internet, stuff like that. It's bound to happen. But, I want to get your thoughts on that because I was curious where you would stand. Because you are, out of the two of us, you are more the voice of reason, I guess, if that makes sense. As opposed to with me, you are constantly like taming me back
Hmm.
or telling me, hey, we can't do this because this is super offensive. So what? Well, but with you are actually much more, trying to think of the word I'm looking for. You delegate so much better than I do. I'll put it that way.
Diplomatic.
So, what are your thoughts on the whole, like, not just Justin Roiland, like, yeah, diplomatic. You're much better. Much better at being diplomatic than I am. With me, I'm just like scorched earth, and you're like, no, maybe not. But when it
It's
comes to the whole thing with Justin
it's a
Roiland,
professional hazard.
Johnny Depp, yeah, I know. But when it comes to things like Justin Roiland, Johnny Depp, and all that, like, where do you stand on things like that with the companies that part ways? And like Johnny Depp's case, it wasn't just one company or like one or two things. It was a slew of things that he was fired from.
Well, the first my knee jerk reaction is, yeah, you would hope that the trigger wouldn't automatically be pulled based on accusations. If anything, I would like to see a, you know a form letter come out from whatever studio is actively involved with this person saying, "Hey, we're going to open up an investigation, and we're also going to sort of cooperate with whatever authorities are involved.
Yeah.
And if we find any wrongdoing on their part, then we could be forced to part ways."
Yeah.
I think that would be a better initial reaction to these things rather than, oh, somebody said somebody did something. Well, guess what? Somebody's unemployed now.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, in Royland's situation specifically, there are two key things to remember here. The charges were dropped because he said there wasn't enough evidence. Doesn't mean there wasn't any.
Yeah.
And two, I think what came out because of this is far more heinous than this itself.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No. See, like with him being dropped, like definitely in his situation, I look at the avalanche of other things coming to light as being a good thing. It's messed up. I've always been the kind of person that when I say I hope they're innocent, I'm not saying that they're not a piece of shit person. I'm saying that I hope they're innocent because if they're innocent, then this stuff never happened to these people. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how I look at it. Is like I would prefer a person I don't like not actually being someone who did this stuff. Like I hope it never really happened. Because like the thought of like women being, like, and well, anyone just like, having harm come to them out of someone like from someone else, I don't like that. Like it works in film for me. It works in TV shows. It doesn't work for me in reality. Like I'm not really like a violent person. I don't get a kick out of that stuff. But does that make sense? Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
And last night we did Jen and I did an episode of 1021, and another fine Wanco Media podcast. The topic was sort of about kind of problematic people that movies were made out of, or Hollywood changing history to kind of, rosy up someone in history. And one of the
you say that a lot. Actually, used to.
Yeah, it still happens. Because I'm not going to say what number it was on my list, but I aimed for the king. On my list was none other than Elvis. Because I'm like,
oh yeah,
wait.
No, they made him look. They made him look really good in that movie.
It's like of all the people that have been, I guess canceled over the years, Elvis seems to be immune. And I can't. I have no idea why. And it's not like it's not allegations of things that he did. It's like his, the facts are
proven.
He absolutely proven. And
well, I mean, look at Johnny Cash.
He's still the king.
Yeah, but I mean, the same thing could be said for Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash was a horrible person when he was in his younger years. He calmed down as he got older. But he not a good person. But
Elvis seemed to be like a piece of crap for his entire life.
Yeah.
At least when it comes to certain proclivities, certain tastes that he had for young people. Not a good look.
Yeah.
And yet we're still making movies about him that make him like I said, Elvis came out last year. This isn't like, well, this movie was made in 1985. We have to look at through that lens. No, we have to look at this through the 2022 lens that it was released in. And guess what? Bad.
Yep.
The personal life of Elvis Presley was not good.
No.
Okay, and I think if we're still making movies about this real life person, um, it's fair to use the modern lens instead
Oh
of
yeah.
just saying times were different. Well, yeah, but you can make it look like it's a bad thing. That's absolutely something you can do. In the 80s, we talked
Oh
about
yeah.
it a few times on the show. Things that just wouldn't fly today, like Revenge of the Nerds. Things that happened in that movie just wouldn't fly today. So we look back and say things were different then. But that's why we don't do those things in film today, because they don't fly.
Yeah.
So we got to stop giving
But
all sorts of people a pass.
I was and before we have people like some insane Elvis fans coming after us, guys. I mean, this guy drugged his wife, um, and then like did he drugged her like before he had what even had before he had sex with her. This a few times. The barely legal or underage fans, and I'm not talking about like cute little go. They're
Not barely,
pretty
just
graphic
extremely,
ones.
extremely
There's
illegal.
a lot of stuff. He did a lot of young. Well, I mean, what was it like? I mean, it's I know Priscilla Presley was like 14, I think, when they got involved when he was like already like 19 or 20. But
Yeah, he was in his mid-20s.
he was obsessed with virgins, obsessed with them. Like he, like, what's that?
I didn't say anything.
I didn't hear what you said.
I didn't say anything. That's why you didn't hear what I said.
Freeze up or did I freeze up?
You,
No, I didn't hear what you said.
because I didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry. But as I thought, the Freddie Mercury movie, see as much as I like over. With a live done way too long. It's cool that they got an ad. That touched on pretty clean.
Sounds horrible, doesn't it?
Uh, he could be. Uh,
Wow, this is bad. This is bad. I'm sorry, boys and girls. This is really irresponsible of me to keep this thing going right now. But here we are. Because I kind of find it hilarious also. Maybe just me. Maybe I'm the one that's like, Brandon sounded just completely. Have to remember not to laugh because the laughing causes the coughing. But yeah, I think Brandon finally realized something was wrong. Another fine episode of the WADcast with a few technical issues. Let's face it. It's not so much technical as much as Brandon's connection to the internet is, as the kids say, dog water. It's truly bad. His image on my screen has been frozen for like a good 2-3 minutes now. Yep. I wonder how it's going to play out in the downloaded version. Hey, if you're listening to the downloaded version, hit us up. Let us know how you enjoyed Brandon's robotic diatribe.
What
Brandon, are you
robotic
back?
diatribe?
Oh,
I don't. I didn't know I have left. See, I don't see my screen. I don't see my screen freezing up.
oh yeah, you're totally you for like 4 minutes. You just were like the dirt, 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 dirt.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Like I said, I don't see that. I see fluid motion on my camera, and with you talking, I just saw you like just staring off. No, I was. It was a long thing about Elvis talking about like how he's obsessed with virgins, pillow fights, how he drugged Priscilla Presley, married her at a very young age, and stuff like that. Obsessed with young teens, and how with Bohemian Rhapsody, the Live Aid scene dragged on way too long. Are you seeing everything clearly now? Okay. Um, but it didn't paint that movie didn't paint Freddie Mercury as the patron saint of rock the way it did for Elvis. Even Great Balls of Fire with
Yeah,
Dennis Quaid back in the '90s painted Jerry Lee Lewis as the piece of shit person that he was.
it's funny because that movie also made my list of um, movies that kind of glorified problematic people. Yes, it showed him having an issue with alcoholism, and it showed him having an issue with, um, marrying his extremely underage cousin, and it did show some backlash for that. But this that was my number 10. Um, and I said the only reason that it wasn't higher up on the list is because it did show some downsides to his choices. But the reason it made the list was because the very last shot is his cousin Jimmy Swagger trying to give him a shot at redemption with the Lord, and he just says, "Well, if I'm going to hell, I'm playing the piano," and he just walks out. And then that card comes up that says, "Somewhere in America tonight, Jerry Lee Lewis is rocking, something or other." Like, oh,
Oh
he's
yeah.
still a rocking and a rolling. You can't shut him down. It's like, but that's not the message. You're supposed. This is not a heroic tale.
No, that movie was very incoherent with a lot of that stuff because it kind of flip flop like, oh, he's a piece of shit. Oh, but he's a good guy. He's a piece of shit. Oh, he's very talented, but he's a piece of shit. Oh, here's this where he does something like Sam, but it still at least brought up some of the issues. I didn't see any of that in the Elvis Presley movie.
No, and I
Like,
I don't know why. You just never will. So yeah, there
yeah,
there are and I want to go to the movie addiction group real quick because
okay.
there
Excuse me.
are members that like to attach certain hashtags or uh, labels to creators, and although not anytime recently, other members of the group. Right now, it seems James Gunn is getting a specific label attached to him,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I've called somebody out on in the group, but when it comes to that specific label, it's a P word. The idea that you're gonna, say James Gunn is with no accusations or evidence that I've heard of to say that he is, versus people that have been proven to be. Um, it seems very well, one, stupid, and two, disingenuous.
Yeah.
When you make um, those types of names available to just call somebody willy nilly. It's not like you're calling somebody a jerk, right?
Yeah.
You can't say, well, you seem to be acting like 100% total pederast today. It's like, no, nope, that's not something you just casually call somebody. That's a word with heavy implications to someone's life and liberty, right? So if you're using these major league accusations, these big time name callings, have something to back it up, because quite frankly, you're just diluting the pool. You're making it mean less and less. Kind of like the whole thing with Hitler. Suddenly, what early 2000s, everything's Hitler, right?
Oh
Everybody's a
yeah.
Nazi. Why? Because you disagree with me. You're a Nazi. And then now, when we have actual Nazis marching in the street saying, hey, everybody, we're Nazis. Oh, please, I hope nobody cuts that individual line out of this show. That would not be great. But there are people out there proudly proclaiming that that's what they are, right?
We're gonna
And
get the wrong people listening to our show.
as I'm up there with my arm held out like this,
You better put your damn hand down, bitch.
the the point is, excuse me, when you take away the effectiveness of words like Nazi, even though there are Nazis, it makes people go, yeah, but you call everything a Nazi. And you show the picture of the people in the swastikas and everything, and like, but this time it's real. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, buddy. It becomes a thing that can't even be used effectively anymore. So when
No.
suddenly somebody, and the thing is, the only reason I see anybody, actually calling out James Gunn for anything, because let's be clear, the only thing I could find was the tweets that he made years ago that were like, in very bad taste and actually cost him his job with
Yep.
Marvel. And then he took ownership of his actions, sincerely apologized, and well, I can't say for him that he sincerely apologized, but he apologized for his past behavior, and said he understood that it was very tasteless what his younger self was doing, what he was doing. And that was good enough for Marvel to say, all right, James, come on back.
Yeah, there's this episode of South Park where like a company really messes up. They're like, we just wanted to say we're sorry. And it's like different things of like this guy doing that's really cute, like petting a dog. We're sorry. Cleaning a seagull. We're sorry. Doing his dishes. We're sorry. Like it was that's just all I can think of when you mention it like that.
Yeah.
But no, it's like you have people that like, I mean, this is the age of the internet. This is the age of social media. This is an age where you have, and I'm not even going to hide my disdain towards this, dumbasses who see people on Instagram, see these Instagram models, and are obsessed with other people's lives so much.
Mm-hmm.
They buy self-help books from people that are multimillionaires, saying or look like multimillionaires, because they want to get rich too. It's just we're at that age where we are surrounded by gullible people who call each other sheep, despite the fact that they all have herd-like mentality when it comes to like selective anger about things. They get pissed off, and then they act based off of like pretty much like a mob mentality. And that's where we are right now. That's I mean, and mob mentality has always been a thing, but it's just like when it comes to social media, it's just insane. So much of it. Hashtag and these hashtags. I mean, look at Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, the original design for Sonic the Hedgehog. The studio was bullied into redesigning Sonic to make him look more like his video game adaptation.
That's called activism,
But I'm just saying, still, like, I mean, that went off of mob mentality. I remember the
not
hashtags,
mob activists.
mobs, but
It's only a mob if negative things come out of it.
it's always a mob, regardless. But it's just, it cracked me up. Like, I mean, the way people in the entertainment industry just jump on this train of hatred and hostility, um, just for the sake of doing it. Really, there's really not even any actual anger behind it. It's just like, oh, well, everyone else is doing it. I'm going to be mad too. Time to go white knight about something. Uh, I don't get it. I don't. It's just so stupid. But
Now, there are
yeah,
things
like,
that are worth getting mad about. But if you're mad about everything, like I said, it totally dilutes any cause that might actually have justification.
yeah, like no, that's exactly it. It turns into the whole boy that cried wolf story. There are legitimate things that are happening. Bob Weinstein, absolutely. That is disgusting. Bill Cosby, the things that he apparently did, that's disgusting. When people like Mark Wahlberg, for Christ's sake, back in like the 90s when he beat up that Korean guy, and then he hides next to another Korean guy, and as soon as he's cleared by the cops, he beats that Korean guy up. Like and he's never really even apologized to these people.
You
Like,
never
not
see
once.
Donnie doing things like that.
But it's one of those deals where there are things to be shocked and outraged by.
Yeah.
But the things that pass the things that people get outraged by, like what was like the Snyder cut. Who gives a shit? The Snyder cut sucked. I don't care if who like is going to argue with me on this one. The Snyder cut should have been like a 2 hour long movie. There was too much goddamn slow motion in it.
I was the guy that was like that meme of Jenna Fisher.
Yeah.
You hold up the Whedon cut and the Snyder cut, and I'm like, they are the same picture. One's slower and less funny.
Slower, less funny, and darker. I mean, it's two different styles though. Like, I mean, you can at least like pick those out of a lineup. My favorite thing though is Zack Snyder having um, a theater play Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and his version of Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
One movie a night. Like, people are actually, and I saw people getting excited over this. Like, oh, I can't wait to see them all back to back. I'm like, why? I thought Man of Steel was okay. It had some serious like plot holes and storytelling problems in it. Batman vs Superman was just ridiculously stupid. Gave us an awesome Batman warehouse fight scene. I'll say that much. But like Zack Snyder is like his whole vision of the DCEU. He wanted Bruce Wayne and Lois Lane to have a kid, and then for Batman to die, Lois Lane to give birth to this kid, and her and Superman to name this kid Bruce Kent, who would eventually go on to be the next Batman.
Yeah, and then at the end of the whole series, you pulled back from the hero shot of Bruce Kent, standing over his city, and you hear the voice of Bob Saget saying, "And that, kids, is how I became your protector."
It's just, I mean, it's one of those deals where, I would love to see a comic book movie where they actually understood the characters. Now, you have it with Marvel. It's kind of like being tossed to the wayside as of late to a degree. But it's just like one of those deals where, like, when it comes to DC, you have so many characters. DC has always had the better storytelling to me. It's always had the best stories. Like, Marvel had the more relatable characters, granted. You had Tony Stark, who was, despite him being a very wealthy tycoon, he was also a man that had some serious problems.
Raging
Right?
alcoholic. Yeah.
He was a raging alcoholic. He was a womanizer. He lost a lot of friends, things like, I mean, Captain America, he felt out of place all the damn time. Spider-Man was a kid. had a bunch, like had all of his problems. Like so, Marvel had the more realistic problems that they brought in these characters, but DC had the better storylines. Um, the Flashpoint movie, or I'm sorry, the Flash, that they refused to call the Flashpoint. It's like, oh yeah, it's we took it's kind of loosely based on the Flashpoint series. Like they lost a chance to bring Jeffrey Dean Morgan into the mix as Thomas Wayne's Batman. And if they were going to tell, they could have made this a dark, messed up movie, man. They could have brought what's her face, a girl who played Maggie from Walking Dead, because she played Martha in like the Batman vs Superman movie. Brought her in as the female version of the Joker. They could have done all this stuff for this movie, but they don't have a reverse Flash. Look at Shazam when Black Adam. You know, Dwayne Johnson, what he did, he doesn't understand those characters. Like Black Adam was not until very recently. Black Adam was always just a straight up villain. He was a bad guy. He wasn't a protector. He wanted all of the power that Shazam had. Right? But now you have this storyline where instead of facing off against Shazam, which I think they should have done in like the first or second movie, that should have been like one of the key things to me. Dwayne Johnson refused to have Shazam in the end credits because he wanted to set Shazam and Superman up as the center people for the new DCEU. Before James Gunn's like, no, we're good. But
I'm looking forward to what James Gunn's bringing to the table.
No, I am too. I'm just saying it's like, but what I'm getting at though is like James Gunn, at least like for the most part, understands what he's doing. He can tell a really good story. I have not seen one of James Gunn's movies that I did not enjoy. Yeah, and like even it goes back to the TV series with Firefly. Was that James Gunn? No,
that was Joss.
That was Joss Whedon. What was there? No, there's a James Gunn series that he did ago. I'm going to freeze up for a second. Give me a second.
Research apparently puts a freeze on Brandon's mic and camera. And that's not even being facetious. It literally does. Looking up information takes Brandon straight out of the show. He's moving again, so I guess that means we have information.
No, I'm just going to use my phone instead. I feel like that's a safer bet for me. I'm not frozen up anymore, right?
James Gunn. You're not.
Okay. I know, because I know he dabbles in like a lot of TV shows. Like Peacekeeper was actually amazing. What he did with the Suicide Squad was awesome. I know he worked with Trauma for a while, way back in the day.
Let's see. Yeah, there's no real TV stuff.
Oh, no! You know what I was thinking of? I was thinking about PG porn. There is a series he did way back when called PG porn, but it was actually a really good show. Okay. And he had this show. What was it? Super with Rainn Wilson.
It was a movie.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying, but it's like it's a damn good show. Well, a damn good movie rather. And he and Zack Snyder both pretty much teamed up for Dawn of the Dead, I believe, because I think that was a Zack Snyder movie, right?
Yes.
Because I know James Gunn wrote it. Yeah, he was a writer for a long time before he actually got into Romeo and Juliet. That's what he did, and that is a weird ass movie. I don't recommend it to everybody. It's some weird shit in there, guys. But it's you know.
Now I want to ask you something.
What's up?
I have my own opinions on this. I want to get yours.
Okay.
Even though people are already saying, blame James Gunn, right, for everything going on at DC that's coming out. They're like Gotham Knights, stupid James Gunn. Um, Anything, just stupid James Gunn. His, I guess, takeover, his contributions to the world of DC on screen, um, any screen, won't begin until the new Superman movie launches everything. Correct?
I think so. I think I remember reading something like that. I'm not too sure. I can't say without looking it up. Why? What's up?
How do you feel that James Gunn has sort of put himself at the helm of the new Superman movie?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. We have not had a really good Superman movie since the 1980s. Um, Superman Returns had its chance, and it had some great scenes. Don't get me wrong. The whole scene of Superman and Brandon Routh did a great job with that role. I've got to say, he
Oh
did
yeah,
an amazing job as Superman. But the scene where he's lifting the Kryptonite Island up and pushes it out into space, that was a Superman move. The scene of Superman saving Metropolis from like the after effects of this island being created was an amazing scene. That was a Superman. That was like the best. I think that was like the last great Superman scene that I've ever seen in cinema, because I didn't see a damn thing of that in Man of Steel. I like the story. And I like I like what they did with the costume design of Man of Steel. And I think Henry Cavill did a great job, and he could have been a great Superman had he had a really good script. James Gunn. Okay, look at it this way. Watch David Ayer's Suicide Squad, right? And then you watch James Gunn's Suicide Squad. It is night and day as far as quality and storytelling.
mm-hmm.
David Ayer's Suicide Squad was a mess. It made no sense. The whole movie made no sense.
You can tell um, between the two. One of them had the memes of I watched Suicide Squad for the plot, and then it's just Harley bending over.
That was the entire movie. It was just Harley, like in a way. Like, and don't get me wrong, I'm a guy. I enjoyed I enjoyed Margot Robbie and what she did with Harley Quinn
Mm-hmm.
in that movie. And yeah, she is a very, I think she's a very attractive woman. She looked hot as hell as Harley Quinn.
But in
But
the second uh, Suicide Squad, you talk about the plot. Suddenly, you're getting like pictures of John Cena and Starro and things like that. It's like, yeah, because there's a plot.
yeah, I mean the whole opening beach scene of the Suicide Squad movie, like
That was
that.
beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, it's just one of those deals where, from what I've seen of James Gunn's superhero movies that he's done, uh, he actually understands the characters when he's writing them. He actually knows how to make them more human.
Mm-hmm.
Like Harley Quinn, she actually did really care about the guy that she killed. Like, she really, like, she thought he was a beautiful person. She still killed him, but she said flat out that she really liked him. But with John Cena, and God, what is his name? Not
Cop number 2.
not Deadshot. Bloodsport. I forget, like, I forget the actor's name. The black British actor.
Idris Elba.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, with John Cena and Idris Elba, like, they're back and forth and all that stuff. Like, I mean, the way he did all that, and then the way he redeemed Peacemaker in that series, he still kept Peacemaker as being a very human person. In the Peacemaker series, he's haunted by killing, the head of the group.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he did a great job with that movie. So
That's
I'm excited to see.
one of the more beautiful story arcs was, and it's weird to say beautiful, but yeah, when he finds out, wait, I'm not the good guy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and unfortunately, you don't see that until the Peacemaker series. But I always loved Peacemaker's line. It's like, I just want peace, and I'll kill anyone I have to get it. It's like, well, that's not peace, man. But even in the Peacemaker series, Peacemaker's father, he had almost a comic accurate costume for this guy, for Robert Patrick.
Hmm.
and it didn't look campy. Vigilante in the series, he was a character in the Peacemaker comic book. He had a damn near screen accurate like version of the comic book suit, and it didn't look campy. On top of that, you mix James Gunn. Like, let's face it, dude. James Gunn's soundtracks to those movies, whatever's happening, he finds the perfect song to go along with what's happening. He always does. This man's attention to detail with just like the sound design and the music composition, it just it complements the hell out of what you're seeing on screen. And his characters have real struggles. Because I mean, like, what was it in Suicide Squad? Like the original, like, what Joker's in it? Oh, but he's not in it. They're being told to go to this rooftop, and this is where Amanda Waller is. The reason why she's even there, the whole point of them rescuing her, it makes no sense. It's a movie. It's like watching Lord of the Rings. It's a movie of a bunch of people walking somewhere. That's all that movie is. Just in
And
this movie, they're
snatchy,
cursing,
snatchy.
and yeah, that's it. Um, it just it could have just gone without getting made. Jared Leto absolutely missed the mark as Joker. I'm sorry for anyone that likes him. He did not do. He's not meant for that role. Um, it was just so. I mean, with James Gunn, when it comes to him making a Superman movie, I'm all as long as they don't make him out to be like this boring ass superhero. That's one thing I liked about Bryan Singer's Superman back in 2005, 2006, whatever year it came out. That Superman was away looking for Krypton, I believe, for like 5 or 6. When he came back, the whole world moved on without him. So now he's just out of place.
Hmm.
The woman he loves has moved on. She's married. She's got a kid, which happens to be his kid.
She's with Cyclops
Um,
now.
yeah, she's with Cyclops. Yeah, James Marston. Lex Luthor. Holy shit! That was an Kevin Spacey. I know he's got shit going on, but Kevin Spacey, you cannot deny talent. He was an amazing Lex Luthor.
My favorite line in that whole movie was when Lois sneaks onto his yacht because Lois is doing what Lois does,
Yep.
and she's like, Lex Luthor, and Kevin Spacey just walks out of the bathroom like, Lois Wayne.
Yeah, with the toothbrush in his mouth. But it's like, and even then, like Kevin Spacey, that one line when he's got like that green piece of kryptonite that he's about to shoot into the water with like the crystal from the Fortress of Solitude. When he's holding it, and he's like waving in front of the kid's face, and you can see the kid's having like a reaction to it. But while he's talking to Lois, one of his men is talking to him over the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we'll be there in a few. Like, it's like, whose son is this? And she's like, it's his. And then like like you hear the goon over the radio is like, we'll be there shortly. And he looks at her, it's like, are you sure? Like he knew before, he knew before Superman knew. But
And one more callback um, to Kevin Spacey's greatness as Lex Luthor, which I know may be a faux pas these days to talk about how great of an actor Kevin Spacey is, but you know what? Credit
you
where
can't.
credit is due.
Yeah, you have to give him credit as an actor. He may be a shipper. His acting is astounding. Always has been.
Remember when he's doing his monologuing, and then he's like, "Okay, say it. Come on, say it. Say it."
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. But besides that, like, did he cut his girlfriend's brakes to her car and like just like send her careening through the city? I mean, like, no, it was very much Lex Luthor. But I mean, moving on, with Brandon Routh though as Superman, he did a great job with what he had to work with. I would have loved to seen what he could have brought to the table. Because even when he came back as the Kingdom Come version of Superman for the Arrowverse, he still did a great job. He still embodied that character. I personally would love to see Brandon Routh get that job as Superman and give him like a fair shot at that role with a really good director that understands the character. Bryan Singer's only interest in having Superman be a character he wanted to direct is because Superman is an orphan, and so is Bryan Singer. He said he felt a connection to the character. Obviously, he just never really. I don't know. I don't know if he even watched the original movies because he kind of like. I think it's supposed to skip past uh,
3.
Superman 3 to 5, right?
Yeah,
Or is it no 3 to 4? I think it was Superman 1, 2, 3, and 4, right?
it retcons 3 and 4 out of existence.
Yeah. So
Now, my thoughts as far as James Gunn goes, I think it's a pretty ballsy move to,
mhm.
you're the president of, you know, um, the DC film division, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to do the first tentpole feature. I am going to direct Superman. That's ballsy. Not just because, you know, some might see it as I'm giving myself the best film to direct. I look at more of it as it's the first one. It's definitely the one that's going to have the most eyes on it. And he's saying, yeah, they're trusting me with this vision. So I'm going to put it all out there day one. And it's all going to ride on me. It seems like he's taking that responsibility to heart. And instead of putting someone else in a position, because if the movie doesn't make bank, he has no one else to point to.
Yeah. And that's it. Like I mean, like I think what people don't want to do is they don't want to give people a chance because change is scary. I don't know why change in a comic book movie is scary. Like I personally, like with me, I feel like the MCU should be coming to an end after this.
No, the
After,
MCU can never come to an end.
but I mean, the thing is, like it's going to go on for so long. You're going to go to different people, um,
I think
which is
accepting recastings should be more commonplace.
I do too. Um, like I still stand my ground when I say they should have recast Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman did an amazing job. He set that character up so damn well.
I only
And
disagree with you on one point here.
hmm,
I think rather than recasting T'Challa, like they could have just scrapped the second Black Panther movie for now until they had plans in place to get somebody else.
I agree. And don't get me wrong, and Angela Bassett did. Oh my god, dude! Both those women did an amazing job with like as a grieving mother and a grieving daughter slash sister. Like they both crushed those roles. Angela Bassett was just like she should have won that Oscar over Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't care what anyone says. She earned that Oscar. Like her portrayal as that queen and like just like the emotion, the raw emotion, the anger, and everything else.
Hmm.
Just she did a great job. But yeah, I don't think that they should have made Black Panther 2 this soon. I think they should have waited, like you said. I think they should have waited. But what I'm saying also is, if they were going to make it, they should have just recasted Black Panther because the original storyline for Black Panther 2 was actually pretty badass. Um, I'll have to find it, but it had something to do with like Black Panther protecting a kid, and he and his sister would eventually take on the mutual roles of Black Panther together to protect Wakanda. It was supposed to be like this really awesome like travel story with the two of them. Now, and that's what I remember off the top of my head. I may be wrong. I had to look it back up, but I remember like reading this like this is an amazing story, but we got this. Namor was okay, um, but I don't know. I feel like the MCU is missing the mark quite a bit lately with a lot of the things. I don't think that they should release the TV shows. I think that and I hear that they're going to stop doing that. Um,
You
they,
heard wrong.
oh, they're going to keep doing it, huh? Well, that sucks. Now I'm looking forward to the Marvels. I don't see why the need to make all these TV shows exist because you can make. They could. What was it like? WandaVision could have been an amazing film. I'm still waiting for Vision's ass to come back.
Well, that's the
Like,
thing. They only do 4 movies a year,
but it
and
used.
the universe is expanding
I know. So
at an
they, so,
exponential rate.
but I mean, and here's the other thing: you also have the woman that was in charge, I believe, like of the visual effects department that was just recently fired.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping with her being gone and replaced by somebody else that maybe the effects won't look so bad. Because I mean, look at Black Widow, right? They weren't great like there was some really good special effects, but there was a lot of obvious like green screen and blue screen usage in that movie.
Hmm.
Like you had like the outline of the actor or actress that was not completely fleshed out. That you could tell that they're like just they've got like blue screen behind them.
Right.
It was bad. But no, I'm hoping that if they do things, they bring a higher quality to future projects. I'm looking forward to Kang tearing shit up. He is one of my favorite villains of all time. But so is Darkseid. So I'm like, I want to see like I want to see Darkseid like actually do something awesome in the DC.
See, that's something I wouldn't have had a problem. Zack Snyder, you know, taking the helm of, except he didn't bring the characters needed to do Justice League.
Yeah.
Everybody was Batman. That's to me. That's what it all boiled down to. Everybody was Batman in his vision. Everybody's dark and brooding. No distinct personalities among them. Everybody was just
Was I saying Dark Side?
Batman. Say again.
Was I saying Dark Seed or Dark Side?
You were saying Dark Seed.
Oh, Dark Side. Okay, Dark Side, not Dark Seed. Oh God, I'm tired. But but yeah, like I mean, it's like there's a lot that can be done with this, and I'm looking forward to seeing what James Gunn does. I think people need to just pump the brakes. I never really cared for Zack Snyder. I thought 300 was okay. I really liked Dawn of the Dead. I really, really liked what he did with Dawn of the Dead.
Hmm.
So when I heard about Man of Steel, I'm like, okay, that's good. Like, I'm looking forward to that. It might be awesome. I saw the post. I'm like, oh, that looks really cool. And then when I saw Man of Steel, like, yeah, I liked it. Okay, but I think I liked it because Michael Shannon was just amazing as Zod. I was trying to think for a long time what I liked so much about Man of Steel, and it was hands down Michael Shannon. I think that was like the best written character in the entire movie,
Hmm.
hands down. I'm ready to down that. That's the hill I'm ready to die on. Michael Shannon's portrayal as General Zod.
And to think he's not even the worst person in the movie,
No,
Jonathan Kent.
it was they destroyed Jonathan Kent in that movie. But yeah, it's like I want like a copacetic story. So I'm curious as to what's going to happen in the Flash. I know it's not James Gunn doing the Flash, but I'm curious as to what they're going to do with General Zod. I'm excited to see Michael Shannon back at that because he was so awesome as General Zod in Man of Steel.
Is he in it though?
Yeah.
But I mean, like, is he in it?
I don't know how. I don't know exactly. Like, mind you, if it was like Flashpoint, I could tell you what maybe to expect. General Zod was not in Flashpoint. Cyborg was. Flashpoint had Wonder Woman and Aquaman in a war with each other. Thomas Wayne being like Batman because Bruce Wayne died in that alternate timeline, and it was Reverse Flash versus Flash.
No,
Now,
I
like I mean,
ask in this particular way because I seem to recall a reporter asking Michael Shannon, how he feels about being in the new Flash movie, and he was like, "Didn't I die in the first thing?"
well, I mean, he was talking about like that's what he thought when they asked him to come on board for it.
Okay, that would make more sense. I was wondering if he actually like showed up on set for the Flash, or if it was just something he got CGI'd into, or was able to show up for a day in front of a green screen and just knock everything out.
Yeah, no. When he said that, they were like, he was talking about how when he was approached to come back as Zod, he was like, "I thought I died in the Superman movie, or like whatever. I mean, I thought I died already." Like, okay, so that's where that came from. Like, he was just like surprised because he honestly thought that his character was dead. So bringing him back in an alternate timeline. And that's the other thing. Instead of Superman, it's Supergirl. I don't think like they could have brought Henry Cavill in on this and done what they did for Steve Rogers and Chris what's his face Chris Evans. They could have just put his face on a really skinny person because that's how Superman was in the Flashpoint comics. He was a scrawny, imprisoned person. So, but like, I'm not too upset over like the changes. I want to see how it plays out. I want to see how Sasha Calle does as Supergirl. But yeah, with James Gunn, like after this, I want to see what he does. I just don't want to see any more of Ezra Miller. That is the worst casting decision they've ever made in the DCEU. Is Ezra Miller as the Flash? Dude can't even run. Like who the hell runs like this? Like just he looks like a damn muppet when he's running, dude. He like runs with a Kermit the Frog run. That's what it looks like to me.
Ezra the Miller here.
Yeah, Ezra D. Miller. Yay!
Now, with all of this being said,
oh God,
we know Shazam came out last week in the second Shazam movie to less than stellar box office.
Yep.
Holding something like 30 million its opening weekend.
Yeah, it wasn't much. It was like well below what the projected numbers.
Why do you think that is?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea.
I'll be I went to see it. I went to see it in theaters, and yeah, because even though I was feeling like crap, I was like, "New superhero movie, I gotta go. They need me." So I showed up. There were literally 5 people in the IMAX screening. That's counting me and my kid.
Yeah.
And we watched the movie. It was fine. Nothing to write home about. But I will say, I didn't even know it was opening weekend for that movie until I looked at my AMC app and I'm like, "That's out." I had no idea. So I'm like, yeah, this is what we're doing today. So, kid, grab your stuff. We're going to the movies. And we did. It's only been out for a week, so I'm not going to go into any kind of spoilers or anything. I don't think anybody is correct with the, post-game assessment as far as the end credit scenes go. They're if you've been on social media, you've been seeing the stories where people are kind of pointing fingers at each other, like, saying that, how do they put it? The end credit scene was sort of cut off at the knees because The Rock wouldn't let Black Adam show up.
Yeah.
In the post credit scene, I guess minor spoiler: there's no Black Adam. But then again, it's a post-credit scene, so are you really going to the movies to watch the post-credit scene alone? Because the way I see it, there's still like at least 90 minutes of stuff before that you got to entertain people with.
I mean, I don't know. Back in the 1980s, people were spending money on tickets just to go see the Batman trailer.
Well, there was no internet, so of course they had to.
Yeah. Like I've already watched Shazam too, and it was.
I mean, there's nothing like brazenly wrong with it.
It's the emotional points. The emotional points that they were trying to make in that movie, it didn't earn it to me. It felt so forced. The first one where Barry gets turned down by his mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was an emotional turning point for me. I'm like, oh my God, that's so sad. I feel so bad for that kid. And the kid owned it. That kid just rocked that. He's great did a great job portraying that. But in this one, like, it just didn't really seem like anything that really awarded any emotional gain for me. It came off more like a parody of the first one. That's what it seemed like to me.
What was your favorite? What was your favorite part? You know what? Excuse minor spoilers for a minute. What was your favorite part?
Only because of how dumb it was is the fact that the kid falls in love with a woman who happens to be the sister of the big bad guy. it just like really like I mean, I don't really have a favorite part. That's what I'm getting at. I don't really have anything that I can say is like my favorite part. But the first movie, that's an easy answer. My favorite part is at the end when the villain is giving his big speech, but he's so far away from Shazam that he can't hear him. That was my favorite part of that entire movie. This one, I don't really have one. It's just like I've already forgotten half the damn thing.
I think my favorite part was when they're doing the thing and everyone has to like speak their truth, and the chubby kid's like, "I'm gay,"
Oh yeah, yeah,
and they're like, "Yeah, buddy, we know. It's cool. Yeah."
yeah. Like, it's just one of those deals where I'm like, oh, the movie's it's just not good. It's like I look at the same as I look at Black Adam. It's okay. It's even Black Adam. I've already forgotten half that movie. It's nothing special to me.
Things went boom.
That's it. That's really all I can think of with Black Adam.
I gave it like a solid C plus.
Shazam or Black Adam?
Shazam.
Okay, yeah, I get. Yeah, that's about where I would put it. It's just nothing special that really sticks out. It's nothing that really stuck with me. That's the best way to put it. Like nothing. At least with Shazam in the first one, he was learning how to use his powers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one thing that cracked me up was like with Black Adam is like how he gave himself a better suit. I'm like, that was never a power of his, but okay, that's cool. I think the original suit looked a whole lot more badass before he had like the big bright lightning bolt. Like back when it was like all faded and tattered. I'm like that's actually more Black Adam to me. But I don't know.
Yeah.
On that note, it's about that time for me.
No, yeah, you got places to be.
I do. Anyway, everybody follow me on social media. Instagram, it's the same as my handle, down here. bjacksman1882. Facebook, Brand Junk. Send me a friend request. I may or may not accept it. Depends on how much I like you. But what's more important is to follow the WADcast. On Instagram, it's instagram.com/the WADcast. And same with Facebook. It's facebook.com/the WADcast, both of which have one thing in common, which is the profile picture. It is a black picture with a white banner that says WADcast in it. So, yeah, go give us a like, give us a follow, comment on our stuff. And, yeah, that's about it. But I do have to get going because I've got to start getting ready here, buddy.
All right, get out of here, you scamp.
You go ahead and do your final thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed the opening animation that we've been using lately. That's all me. I took care of that. Learning how to do some motion graphics and teaching myself. So, yeah. Hopefully we'll have some announcements to make to you guys sometime in the near future. Meantime, you guys all have a great Friday night. Go out, do your thing. Try not to get drunk and make bad life choices. Make good life choices. And, yeah. Josh, I'll talk to you later on.
Well, it's just us kids. Hey, how's it going? What a day, huh? What a week. Here we are at the end of another WADcast, episode number 123. And I'm here to tell you the same thing that I tell you every single week. The only thing standing between you and your dreams is you. I'm not really sure what else to add to that anymore. Because there's things you want to create. I want to create music. I bought a guitar. I'm learning how to play. 41. Learning how to play guitar. Because there's things I want to create. So I'm doing it. So if you want to write, start writing. If you want to make a movie, make a movie. The worst movies are the ones that don't get made. Because at the very least, if you make a terrible movie, you made a movie. And really, that's your goal, right? Yeah. Just stop getting in your own way. Do your thing. You do you, as the kids say. Anyway, go to wadcomedia.com, hit all the links, buy all the merch, hit all the like buttons. If you download this, make sure you rate, review, subscribe. We're all wherever you get this fine Wadco Media podcast. It's that time. So until next week, I'm Josh, the guy that unceremoniously left early is Brandon. This has been the WADcast. I hope everybody has a great week.